Let's find out how you can build a Python command line tool very quickly by just adding a few lines without any frameworks or external dependencies. So I have a file here, it's called sys.py with a single function called main. So the idea here is that it will get a path, in this case the argument is called file, and it will calculate the size of that path by using os.path that gets size, and it will print that in megabytes. Now we're not passing in file just yet. One thing that you could do is you could use the sys module, which we've imported here in line number 2, and pass it to main. So we can say, and that effectively prints or gets you a list of the arguments in the command line tool. So that's pretty useful, and then you don't need to use any frameworks or anything. But one trick that you can do to avoid having side effects, so if you're importing main and you're reusing this code somewhere else, if you're using this as a module, well, you can use this snippet called if underscore name is main. So this tells Python, hey, if this is getting executed in the terminal, then execute this next line of code. So we're going to say file is going to be sys.argv, the last item. This effectively tells you, hey, if we're passing 100 items, it doesn't matter, I don't care, just get me the last one. So it's a kind of like a foolproof way of passing an argument and retrieving the last argument that is being passed in the command line tool. So then we can say main file and then save that, and that should just work. So if we execute this in the terminal, we can say Python 3 sys.py, and then I have a video here, and it's going to calculate that size, and it's 25 megabytes in size. So that's good, but you may say, well, what if I want to have like a help menu that, like, if I'm not passing any arguments? Well, you can also do that, because you can check the length of sys.argv. So very quickly, I'll show you what that looks like. It's essentially a list. So if we open up the terminal again and I run these, you'll see that there's 2 items. First and always the name of the file that is getting executed, in this case is sys.py, and any other arguments. So if I don't pass any arguments, in this case it will try to calculate the size of sys.py, which is my file, and because this is essentially the last item in the list, it also happens to be the first one. So let's quickly change that to add a help menu and be done with our little command line tool here in a very fast way. So we're going to say if the length of the sys.argv list is equal to 1, then print this nice help menu. I mean, you can add as many details as you want, but you can say this is a CLI tool that calculates file sizes, and it takes a single argument. All right, so we can save that. And then the trick here is that you need to do sys.exit 0 so that the program terminates right here, line 15, and line 16 and 17 will not get executed. This is basically exiting with a non-error code. So we're gonna save this, and we're gonna run our command line tool again. So without any arguments, we get a nice help menu. So that's it. And if we pass in our video, we get the 25 megabytes back. So that effectively converts a simple Python script that has a single function into a command line tool that you can execute with Python without any side effects, using functions, just using this little snippet here on line 9.